follow this railing around. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my cane extended out in front of me some distance. What I'm looking for is this drop. And when I find that drop with my cane, I know there's a stair coming up. I'm sweeping, find my toes. And as I go down, I have my cane in front of me. And then when I come to the landing, my cane is at the same level it was up there.
One of the things, when I went through training, I expected, you know, these alternative techniques to be these magnanimous, this is how a blind person does something. And most of the time, they were so simple.
We've taken just a fabric paint and made some raised markings. For instance, this is temperature. You notice we don't have any numbers on here.
I see.
And by putting a marking here, that will give us a benchmark of a certain temperature that when you're just feeling it, if you know that this is 250 degrees, for instance, if you get that turned so it matches up with this mark up above.
I think I had a bruise on my forehead from going, duh. But the difference was because I wasn't blind before. I didn't know how blind people did things. It wasn't in my knowledge base. Even though there were simple little things, give me enough time, I might have figured them all out. But here, I get it all at one time, and I learn it quickly.
The only thing that changed was getting training. And when I went back to school, I graduated magna cum laude, and now I'm Minnesota Student of the Year. And that was the only change, was the training. And it made a huge, that was it. My name is Michelle Denise Michaels. I'm a graduate of Blind Incorporated, and I'm a singer.
My name is Al Spooner with Blind Incorporated. Here I do outreach and marketing.
And I'm Sean Mayo. I'm a graduate of Blind Incorporated and the executive director of Blind Incorporated. And Blind Incorporated is actually an acronym that stands for Blindness, Learning, and New Dimensions.
What are those new dimensions?
It's really the way that we teach, our philosophy and our teaching methods that we teach here, and really opening up the world to what blind people think that they can do. Oftentimes, when a person's blind, in society in general, think that if you're blind, what can you really do? And we want to show that the dimensions out there of the world, that they're all open to you. It's more based on your interests, your ability, your intellect, and not on how much you can see or can't see.
Before I came here, I defined myself as based on what I can't do. So if you ask me what I do, I would say I can't drive, I can't do all kinds of things. And Sean asked me what would I want to be if I could see, you know, if I had 20/20 vision, and I want to be a flight attendant. and then we figured out what about it I liked, and I liked the wheelie, you know, have the little suitcase and walking through the airport looking cute, and airplane food. So then I discovered that I could do that in my singing career. I still have a suitcase, and I still could get airplane food. And but from coming here and gaining the skills, I now define myself based on what I can do.
One of the first questions, Sean, you ask new students that come here, what is it that you would do assuming you could see? And then taking that answer and maybe translating it into a formidable career for someone with a visual impairment?
Well, actually, yeah, we'll ask them a lot of times what they'd like to do, and most times they can do what they want to do. Do you think, would it be possible, would one of you guys be willing to cut a piece of wood?
I can.
Okay.
Just go ahead and cut.
Our graduates here go into just about any profession you can think of. We have the singers such as Michelle.
Just stay, my funny Valentine. Stay, stay, stay each day.
We have a person who is in the film industry, lives here and goes out to LA, and he also does a literacy project with the United States government and the Egyptian government and flies back and forth spreading literacy. Our maintenance man here is blind. One of our graduates is a teacher in middle school, a middle school English teacher. So just about everything you can think of. We had somebody, one of our seniors was a gun safety man.
This school isn't a high school or a school that's going to give you a diploma.
Yes, it's not an academic environment whatsoever. It's more a blindness submersion. You know, you eat, sleep, and think blindness 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We tell students class time is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, but you are in training 24 hours a day. Students live in the apartments, they go home to the apartments, there's no one there to help them. They have to take care of themselves. They got to clean that apartment, they got to cook, they got to do their own grocery shopping.
That's part of the curriculum here?
That's part of the curriculum.
We have Braille, reading and writing Braille. We have assistive technology, which is using computers with synthesized speech. We have daily living skills and home management. We're cooking and cleaning, organizing.
The small meal requirements are you need to have 3 hot dishes. With one of them has to be a meat that you cut with a knife, and then a super salad beforehand, some type of bread, and dessert. So it's not really a small meal in terms of quantity of food. Yeah, it's a small. It's the reason we call it a small meal is because it's you're serving 4 to 6 people. Well, 6 for us, but it's you know, like it's small in terms of the number of people who will be eating the food.
And then we have cane travel class. People go out in the community so that they can travel in familiar and unfamiliar locations independently.
Then as a student progresses through travel, also the intersections that we go over will become increasingly more difficult as well. You know, the stuff they work on early on in travel, after a couple months will seem easy to that student. And you know, it's very mentally draining at first too, because a student is learning how to hold the cane properly. And so maybe the student is thinking, I gotta tap over to my left, tap over to my right. And every step they're thinking about this process. After a few weeks, they're not thinking as much about that process. They may be thinking about what they're having for supper tonight.
Part of it is the transferring of skills. Like when a student first starts, the instructors are going to be there with them at the beginning and showing and teaching.
At their places of where they live?
Here, and we do have people at the apartments that can help out as needed. But as the student gains those skills, the instructors will pull back.
The goal of travel class is to work myself out of a job with a student. At first I'm really close. You know, we're pretty much attached at the hip when we go out and travel. And then by the time they graduate, they don't want nothing to do with me. They're traveling all over the city by themselves and, you know, get that sense of independence.
We have a jobs class to help people prepare resumes, prepare to go out into the workforce. The underemployment rate among the blind is about 70% more, and we've seen within a year of graduating here, 75% or more of our students go into employment and back into college, and so that's our goal. You know, we have, it shows the difference that training can make to go back into employment, then you're paying back into the system.
We want to be employable, and we want to partially to achieve that, we need to learn ways that we can adapt to the environment rather than making the environment adapt to us, because we believe that makes us a much more employable candidate.
Sure.
And so